listen, I drove up here from New Orleans, Louisiana. That's where I live. And I'm just honored to be with you guys. I've had the privilege of working with Black Millennials for Flint. They're doing great work. Obviously, my man Jamal has already said to you guys, that they've been doing some stuff with net prevention. Talking about in Flint, Michigan, but they've obviously have expanded that to other places. And what I like about what they're doing right now with the environmental justice, they're talking about the health of Black men. Right? Now that's something that we don't talk about that much, right? Not as much, even with the net prevention in Flint, they were concerned about how the women was doing and the development of children. And that's wonderful. We need to be concerned about that. But we need, the strong men in our community also. We need to look out for them. Anybody agree with that?
Yes, sir. Yeah.
All right, I see some hands shaking. I need y'all to talk back to me. I'm also a Baptist preacher, so I need to talk back to me a little bit. All right? That's all right?
That's right.
Okay. So, you don't have to say amen, but you got all right. All right, you can say that. All right. So, let me tell you a little bit about me. I'm a graduate of Morehouse College. I've been to seminary some other places. I've been to medical school and stuff. I got a medical doctor as well. But I deal in natural medicine, natural medicine. Okay. Now I want to know, and I have my own concierge medical practice. It's called, I don't know. So I'm the chief healing officer of Whole Kingdom Wellness. Okay, so it's my own practice I have, and I go places and help people to be well. All right. So we want to have a conversation this morning about Black men's health, and we want to see how that connects to urban farming. Okay, just kind of get you thinking. Farming, health. All right, we're gonna try to make that connection for everybody. Right. So Jamal's gonna help us. We're gonna get a conversation going. So listen, I'm not gonna sit up here and talk to you all day. Right? I need you to talk back. We're gonna have a conversation. Right? All right. It's all right.
Yeah.
Okay. Jamal.
All right, so real quick, just so we can start off, you mentioned this health. So talk to us a little bit about how you actually got engaged in this health profession, particularly how you moved into farming.
Yeah, I mean, so for me, the profession that I'm in is called naturopathic medicine, and what it is basically whatever your primary care doctor does, I do that, but I focus on natural medicine, like botanical medicine. I do stuff like chiropractors do. I even do traditional Chinese medicine and stuff like that, right? Now, one of the reasons why I decided to do that is because when I was growing up in New Orleans, I had a lot of relatives and stuff. They was taking all these medications. They had whole boxes of it. Any of y'all can identify with that? Yeah. Boxes of it. And I remember even as a kid, I was like, man, there's got to be a better way than this. Because they keep having to have to take all those medications, and I discovered that there was a way to do that by being preventative with our health and doing things naturally, right? And so when we talk about the intersection between health and urban farming, that's kind of where I love that. And so one of the reasons why I wanted to get involved in what Black Millennials for Flint was doing is because I really just relocated back to my hometown a few months ago, and I was living in Miami, Florida. And when COVID hit, I saw an article that said, hey, in my own hometown, 70% of all the COVID cases were from the Black community. I said 70%. 70%. And I said, what in the world is going on? Right? And so the reason why is because we understood that our Black community had so many what we call comorbidities, right? Like high blood pressure, diabetes, that made us more susceptible to COVID, right? And if we want to grow and build as a community, we got to start with our health. That's one of the greatest forms of wealth that we can have.
So, if we focus on urban farming using those statistics, like, what do we think about the impact that urban farming could actually have on the number of actual grocery stores or just holistic foods that individuals or our people in our neighborhoods are eating versus fast food restaurants? Has anybody thought about that? You have?
Take the approach, like how you approach that. A lot of people are kind of scared to go, the health route and food. So if it's like part of, as far as like if this approach different, and it's something where people can be able to actually try it, that might help.
I mean, this is good, man. Like, so kind of, some of y'all talk to us, like,
you know, I'm trying to see who they're saying. They're like you on the float.
I mean, when we think about that, I mean, most of us, let's be real. We think about getting some food, we thinking about fast food or the grocery store, right?
It's quick.
It's quick. But even so, I want to kind of turn it a little bit. So even when we think about getting some food that we can cook, and let me just say, the men can cook too, though. I mean, I just got it. Fair enough. But we think of our source of our food is the grocery store. Many of us don't even think about the fact that it didn't end up, it didn't start there, right? You know, I was talking to a friend of mine the other day, and you know, they wanted to cook some corn, right? And they sent one of their younger relatives in the store to get some corn. And they said, I don't see no corn, but it looked like some corn with some lettuce wrapped around it.
They ain't never seen that kind.
She didn't even know that the corn had something out there because she was used to seeing it wrapped in plastic with the green stuff already off. Right? Yeah. So just think about that. And what it tells us is that we've lost touch with the source of the food. Right? And so I want to just say something real historically real quick, because we don't have a whole lot of time, but I want you to understand this. You know, when they freed us from slavery, right? We may call ourselves free-ish, right? Ish. I mean, you know, we can talk about stuff we saw on TV with that trial. We kind of free-ish, right? What they did was, you know, at that time, you know, it was a power thing, right? When they were free, they didn't really own no land, right? To grow some food, right? At the same time, we got stuff going around where they're saying, hey, you guys can vote now, right? But the slave owners, they want you to vote, right? So what they would do is say, look, I know you don't have no land. I'm going to let you get back on the land you were slaving for me, and you can grow some crops for your family, but you got to give me 75% of what you grow. And if you go register to vote, I'm going to kick you off the land. Right? So it was a sense of power, right? So one of the reasons why we're talking about this from a historical standpoint is because people begin to realize that if we want to really be free, we got to learn how to control the source of our food. Right? Whoever is controlling the food source can control things. Because at the end of the day, if you can't grow your own food, right, you may have to do whatever they tell you to do so they can give you some food that they grow. Right? So the sense of power, it's a sense of health, but also power. Does that make sense, y'all? Yeah. And that's one of the important things here. Right? How many of y'all heard the name Fannie Lou Hamer? You ever heard that name, Fannie Lou Hamer? Yeah. Anybody? Listen, if you had a chance, Google her. Right? She did some awesome work in this country years ago where she began to understand that the only way for black communities to be free was one of the ways we could be free is we control the source of our food. And if we could control that, they couldn't tell us we couldn't vote. They couldn't kick us off the land, right, that they was giving us because we controlled it ourselves. Right? So let's just think about, I want you to start thinking about how that is still playing out now. Right? Think about this. And I'm gonna let tomorrow get back in this. I'm sorry, y'all forgive me. But listen,
take your time.
If we can get control of that, of the source of our food, just think about what we've been able to do in our community. When COVID happened, what was happening at the stores?
Everything was running out.
Shelves was empty. Right? And the people who had the power to make things happen were the people who had some stored up food. Right? And we was looking like dog. Now all of a sudden people were trying to make gardens in their home. Right? Yeah. But that's an example of what can happen. Right? If we're not prepared for that. What if the grocery stores don't open back up? What we gonna do? The people who produce the food gonna have us like this. Right?
Real quick, piggybacking on just what it looks like for black folks to have their own. And so we're not we naturally have a sense of community that we've all kind of gotten away from because our needs and our struggles sometimes become so great. But this whole urban farming deal and having black farms like allows us to make sure that, man, when we look around this room, we know we can take care of each other. And we can take care of our neighborhoods and our communities. So those things become very, very important. And so as we segue, as I segue into it, let's talk about what rules the land? Like who makes the law of the land? Our taxes, our government, the law of the land. You almost can't move and do what needs to be done unless some law and legislation is passed, right? And so when we talk about, in a sense, I'm not going to get into a whole voting right now, but we're getting close to elections. It's important that we pay attention not to who just puts a sign in our yard or come by our church or who know our grandmas, but to make sure that we understand the policies in which they are putting in place that impact our community versus what they're telling us. So I'm going to share with you, since we're moving into the urban farm, I'm going to share with you our Urban Agricultural Zone Act. That has been, is it authorized? The act is authorized.
No, so we got to reintroduce it. So there's a bill that was passed by Representative Chisholm. Who from Memphis? Y'all remember Chisholm Trail? So it's the man that owns Chisholm Trail, his son. He's a state rep. He's introducing a bill, an urban farming bill, and so he didn't get a chance to get it passed.
They judges down there.
So he tried to get it past this past legislative session, but he's going to reintroduce it in January.
So what it is, it's allowing urban farmers to designate land within certain areas and get those properties, not as commercial properties, but ordained as urban farming properties. Urban farms. And so I bring that in there. When we talk about having our own, the legislation piece also becomes important on having our own so that we can have the ground, the lands, and the means to do what needs to be done on that land. Can you talk to us a little bit more about, let's move, so I know the policy piece is just a petty piece, I don't want to be stuck in the policy piece. But let's talk about some more of these urban gardens. What should they look like? The type of food let's talk about the urban garden and what it should look like.
Yes, I mean, in some cities they're kind of catching on to this, right? So urban gardens, look, just like we have a neighborhood sitting here like this, you might walk into different buildings, but you might find a garden sitting somewhere, right? And this is what and this was important to have the land to do that, right? Because inside the urban, towns and cities, it's almost seems like it's landlocked, and people kind of own certain, you see grass in certain places, right? But, anyway, so it's a farm inside the community where you live, right? Now, what's important here is that we're able to grow stuff, right, that is local, right? Foods that are in season, right? That can sustain us with certain vitamins and minerals, right, that we may not even be getting on a regular basis, right? So one of the important things about farming in general, right, is that you are able to sort of rotate your crops, but also grow things that are in season, right? You grow stuff in season. The other day I went to a farmer's market, and I was looking at some okra, right? And I'm like, man, I'm looking at some okra, and somebody had to remind me, that's not in season, right? It's not in season, right? Watermelons, who knows when you're supposed to buy watermelons?
Right? Yeah. July.
July, right? In the summertime, it's more in season, and the reason why we call it in season is because it's the optimal growing time, right, for those things, and they take certain minerals out of the ground, and they grow optimally in certain weather and certain moisture conditions, right? And so the other piece of it with the urban garden is that it's not just for an individual, right? It wouldn't be just for an individual. So a community urban garden will be an opportunity for everybody to help each other to grow, to eat healthy, right? You grow the seasonal vegetables and fruits, right? And it's an opportunity to give some people employment. You have an opportunity to begin to teach your children now as young to have a connection to the land, right? And let's be real, many of us have lost that. We've lost that. My family owns some land out in the country in Louisiana, right? And all the time we don't even think about it, and we should, right? And a lot of us have flocked to the cities, and we've forgotten about that land, right? So it's an opportunity to establish that, to reconnect our children and our people to the land, right? So that we can self-empowering. What does the word empowerment mean to you guys?
Better yourself.
Huh?
Better yourself.
Anybody? Empowerment. Anybody? Empowerment. There's no wrong answer. Not sure. Empowerment. Wealthy. Yeah. Right. So empowerment suggests that you don't necessarily need somebody outside of yourself to get it done. Right? We don't have to worry about the white guy to do it. We don't have to worry about anybody outside of our community to do it. We are doing it from within ourselves to build ourselves, to make ourselves healthy, to be able to sustain ourselves, right? Not depending on some other entity or person, right? And that's what an urban farm. That's what an urban farm represents. The ability to empower your own community, grow our own food, from our own land, from our own hands, from our own sweat, and build ourselves. Everybody with me on that? We can't wait on somebody to hand us something. Hello?
Right. You gotta go get it.
Hello? Right? And why? Because we see that there's so many forces outside of our communities that don't have our best interests in mind. Hello? Right? We can talk about that all day. Right? So an urban farm represents those things, the opportunity to be healthy, right? To give our community what it needs, but also to empower us to be self-sufficient. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Hello?
Yep.
Anybody ever felt like that? I mean, I kind of wanted to, I wanted to do this myself. Anybody felt like that? I feel like that. Every time I take my truck to the store to get an oil change or to get my brakes fixed, I be like, man, this is $400, man.
You got material,
And they made a mistake one day and showed me that what they was doing. Man, I went to AutoZone, got me a C-clamp and my own brake pads, and jacked that jug up and did it myself.
Instant mechanic.
That's what urban farming represents. Our opportunity to change our own brakes.
Okay. In some communities, a lot of people buying the property, making their own farms and stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So this.
One in the middle
Yeah.
right now.
Tell us about that.
It's right there. I think that's off of Hamilton or David. It's been right there probably about a couple of months, almost a year. And
It's one on corner.
They own fruits and stuff right there. Right across the street from the little car shop. But my question is, I hear everything that's going on, but certain people might not know their relatives of anything to find out if you guys got land or not. So what are the urban millennium, you feel what I'm saying, or the growth, how is we gonna get to the resources without wealth?
Right.
Without wealth. And so how is we gonna get to the resource, the land to do that? Because it's gonna have to take a powerful movement to do so.
Right.
Because the government still gonna get involved regardless.
Right.
However you gonna feel like it's just like with the Black Panther, with the Wick and everything, we had that before.
Mm-hmm. That's good.
We had that. So what are we gonna do in modern day time to get back to the essence of getting back to our natural?
Right.
And then there's also a guy in Coldwater that's got a farm. He asked for donations for, I don't know, probably 2 years straight.
It's like we don't want to donate anything. We'll donate product, Gucci, clubs, weed, liquor, women,
I know a guy right now.
like who's gonna do that?
Right.
We got a guy right now in Coldwater. They got a big farm. He's ready to do all the farm. He's ready to have the food, do everything, but nobody don't want to donate and do the things that they part to bring in the money to they will make it happen.
So
big farm, ready to do it right now.
So one thing interesting about what you said and what
Now
the
you
young
see Coldwater
guy said earlier today was about changing.
We gotta change our mindset.
It's about changing the perception of even urban farming.
Well,
The
no,
perception
we're
of
Memphis, but I just know the guy. He's in Black Power. He got land. He's been posting on Facebook for about 2 years, and nobody that been donated to him yet.
Even if we donate, we still donate to somebody else.
yeah.
We still doing it. I don't know.
Right, he's still doing it. He's still making it happen.
What I'm saying is you want me to send my money to, again, somebody I don't know, to
No,
go
no.
some food that I might not even get none of.
But no, he got
Rico is no different from us sending the money to the club to get bail.
But he also got
You be trusting somebody else with your money, you know, to make sure that your weed or your cocaine.
But what I'm saying, if I go to the store and get it, I'm gonna get it right there.
Yeah, you gonna get it right. So
If I send my money to him and get him, everybody don't never make it to me.
He's gonna make it to you.
So what
you
that
got
means is
so what he
we
gonna
trying
have? My
to build it
name
from
on
the ground up.
That's not about no personal thing. Me, you, I have something on my name.
Yes, it is.
It's about us doing it as a community.
And I see you gonna never.
And trying
You gotta take care of you first.
Hold on.
If you don't take care of you, can't take care of nobody else.
So I think that right there is a prime example of like internal conflict that we have.
And that's how many black people that we have.
And then we have.
You gotta get out that mindset.
It just makes sense.
Hold on.
It makes sense.
Hold on. I'm moderating.
So I mean, but these are valid. I'm gonna get to you.
So this is good. This is good conflict.
Right.
Because the question the underlying question is, if I'm going to patronize your black business, what is your black business going to do to the bigger good of the black community? Or is this my money just going to sit over here and you going to come back and ride?
And your pocket.
And you just going to come back and ride through the hood and tell me that I can be somebody too if I work hard. Versus these entities us figuring out like, how does this work? So if we're getting a farm in Coldwater, Mississippi, and we've got 3 grocery stores that are owned by mom and pops in our neighborhood, then what we need to create is the pipelines where that natural food is coming not to Kroger, not to Save-A-Lot, not to Aldi, but it's coming to our mom and pop stores, because now you're buying it from them. The community's getting it from here. So now we're switching this. We're throwing this money back this way. Then our young kids have an opportunity to work at our neighborhood store because they got something to do. They can make them some money. And now our children and everybody we're eating better, and we're feeding our own, creating our own ecosystem. So the ecosystem, the black ecosystem, doesn't necessarily have to be directly in your backyard for it to support your community or for it to be good. But what we do need to do is we do have to hold other black businesses and black people accountable for being black. Don't come sell me on being black when you don't do anything black else, when you don't put your money somewhere else. We really got to create a system. So the conflict is good, but I think in the midst of conflict, we just need to focus on how do we make it work. And not that it's not going to work. How do we make it work?
So one word to accomplish what we've been saying is the word cooperate.
And teamwork.
Right? So there's a concept that a lot of communities start to do, and you'll see it a lot in even white communities. They have what they call co-ops. And literally it's a form of a grocery store that is for the community, by the community, and it is supplied by farms near this building. So the concern is, I'm growing this stuff, I gotta take care of mine first, right? But here's the thing, we have to get into the mindset of we. And I know it's hard because we live, listen, America is about you better get yours. And that has destroyed our communities. It's destroyed our communities. Colonizers came here on ships from across an ocean, and they planted a flag in the ground and said, "This mine." And we wonder why they did it. You know why the people let them do that? Let me tell you why. They did it because they didn't have the I, me, mine mindset. Touch the black man real quick. How many of y'all feel stressed? I felt stressed, right? Listen, I was driving up here yesterday. I was driving, and then I got news of that verdict in Kenosha, right? I had to almost pull over, man, because at that moment, I felt unseen, traumatized, right? Thinking about all the black and brown men and boys who were locked up for less crimes. Locked up because they stole a backpack. Locked up because they sent their children to a school. Locked up for voting. Years. And he kills 2 people.
They ain't get assault charge, man.
and nothing.
Get aggravated,
So as a black man looking at all that, I felt traumatized by that. That's stress, right? I want y'all to think about this. And this connects to urban farming, and I'm gonna tell you how in a second. The first thing is money and finances. How many of y'all feel stressed because of money and finances? Lord, y'all go ahead and be honest, right? How I'm gonna pay these bills? You know, how this gonna work? How I'm gonna feed the family, etc., etc. There's a lot of stress that go. You know, even if you're a man that consider yourself, you know, be the head of your household, you're trying to be a leader in your household, right? There's a stress to that because you know they're dependent on you, right? Hello? That's one. Number two, raising racism, right? How many of y'all have ever been jacked up by the police?
Oh, you told me to roll my hands at the time with my hands in.
Right? Listen, I've been stopped in every state I've ever driven in. Every single state. Huh? No, it ain't, no, but listen, I can tell you stories, but it don't have nothing to do, it ain't had nothing to do with my driving skill. I've been harassed. He pulled me over, I said, hey, why you pulling me over? Well, you know, I said, you know, he tells me my license plate is obstructed. What does that mean? I can see it fine. Do you need glasses? Right? He asked me, where am I coming from? Who do I know there? Where am I going? Who do I know there?
I ain't no tourist, I ain't business.
I'm going to see my mama for Christmas. Is it a crime? You know? No, I didn't say that to him. I probably wouldn't be standing here the way things are, right? But the reality is there's a lot of stress that we deal with race and racism as black men. The third one is jobs and career, right? Sometimes you can't find a job. Sometimes it's because of what you look like, right? There's a lot of issues that go on with that. The fourth thing is relationships and family. How many of y'all felt stressed with relationships and family? Some of y'all might have y'all lady here, so don't raise your hand. I'm just trying to help you, but it's not the time, you know. But how many of y'all feel stressed about stuff like that?
Yo.
Last time I did this, a brother said, man, I wish you would shut up, man. She talked too much. That's what he said, you know. So there's a lot of stress with that. And the last one is health and fitness, right? We struggle with that. For some of the same reasons that we've been talking about all day. Why does, somebody help me, how does urban farming fit into, how can it help those things? What are the things? Number one, money and finances. 2, race and racism. 3, jobs and career. 4, relationships and family. 5, health and fitness. How can urban farming, you think, help us to get rid of some of that stress? Anybody, just think about it.
You ain't spending money on food because you're growing it yourself.
Say again?
You're not spending money on food because you're growing it yourself.
Right, so you're actually making money, right? From growing food.
Another source of income.
Source of income. What's that? Get plenty of exercise, work in the field. Very good. Anybody else?
Spending time with your family. Teach your kids how to do it. That community growth with your
you can train your children up, right? Teaching them how to do it. Right? Right? Anybody else?
And get some stuff in your backyard.
Well, hopefully. Y'all seen the thing. Y'all made me think about the movie Friday. He got in trouble on his day off. Sorry. But let's not get in trouble like smoking. Sorry. Right? Anybody else? How else can urban farming help with this? With those challenges? Anybody? So I mean, as we see, what you say? Oh, okay. So we see, urban farming is a huge. It could be a solution to so many things. We talked about it empowering our community, right? We talked about it being a way of introducing health and fitness to our community, and we also know, the other things that we just said. It can help with finance. It can help. Let me ask you this: how can it help with race or racism?
That won't be defined nowhere because you already know the white man gonna want to be on top of everything. You feel what I'm saying? Hold on, let me get my point out.
Get it help.
Now where?
Get it help because they gonna have to respect you because you want to make them food.
Yeah, but at the same time, a motherfucker can come drop a bomb on it. I got you. They come do whatever they want to do because we don't have no militant like Like everything gonna have to be. Hold on,
Hold
let me get the point across. Basically what I'm saying is, it's gonna have to start off with money regardless.
Right.
You feel what I'm saying? It's gonna have to start off with money regardless. Just like right now, we can go up the street. It's about 6-7 foreclosed homes right now. We speaking on land. Why not buy those foreclosed homes on the black market and tear it down? And they're gonna get a piece of land. It's all.
If you come in here and you talk to us, then if you gonna come in here with the problem, then you got to also have the solution to the problem, or at least treat your solution. And then so we can
develop an idea to come over to the solution.
So you can't come in here and be like, okay, well I brought y'all this the topic right here. Now what y'all think about it? You've been doing this for some time. You just brought this in here to us an hour ago. And you want to ask us, what do we think about solution? No, you brought it in, so we want to know what your solution is.
So I want to make sure that the points of clarification are very clear. I am asking you, the ask is trust.
Right.
We're talking action items.
Right.
Action items, there needs to be trust. So what I am asking about trust, it's the same thing if you was in a relationship with a female and she asked you, well, what do I need to do for you to trust me?
Right.
I'm asking you, what do we need to do?
But see, this my thing right here, since you said that. You come in with trust. When you walk in the door, we trusted you enough to walk in here and not kill all of it.
Right.
Okay.
So until you do something to lose that, I trust you.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
The trust is there, but we got to.
Ain't nothing you can do. It's something that you can't do to make me not trust you.
And then it's powers in numbers, man. So if you can't get the people to trust you, and they over time, we watch the TV things, and we come to get hurt by this, Malcolm, somebody getting hurt. Every time we make a move, nobody ain't gonna make a move. When you got like Umar, some other people that's doing certain things and certain moves, it's going worldwide, bro. You gonna have situations where people ain't gonna want to. I know people that don't know yard. Millions of dollars for certain programs.
You don't play the whole game.
But I'm saying, when you get that image, that's always we still don't think that is
let me clarify. So what you're saying is you want to see what we're talking about.
Yeah, show us.
Right, show it.
So like build a garden and say, hey, this is what we're talking about.
Right, that's what gets the development of things.
That's good. That's good.
And then
back again. Now, I got to use him again. Back again. Same thing we go to. First thing talking about there's money in the thing. I'm saying, what is the purpose of you coming around like making this conversation up there? It always ends or it's over. I'm waiting on it.
You got DNB business banks that you can just use your own. It's ways that we can do so much stuff like this with our own business, private business, without being.
Hey, so let me
without having high interest rates, all types of stuff. We can use our own business. But what I'm saying is, money into the circulation. Do we have the vehicles to move the food? Do we have the facilities to put the food in? How many cities are we covering?
So you need a game plan.
Right, we need the plan. We need a 5-plan and we got a game plan.
Okay. You gotta have a plan.
Right, we need the blueprint.
You want to open the stuff, you need to have a plan. Before I give you my money, we
need to see the plan. Because also you don't need my money, because you got ways that you go in banks. You gotta get insurance loan. Y'all have to sit here and talk to me. Y'all could have used 3 businesses, develop all the money you need, and went on and did what you had to do.
So we need to show you what we talking about.
That's all.
Fair enough.
Because what I'm saying, I'm not saying it should be like that. No. But over time, nobody gonna trust me, because we see people do it and it cross the whole community.
So
it cross the whole community, and for their own purposes, reasons.
Yeah.
And I know some people that done it.
Fair enough. What we gonna say, my man?
That boy getting chopped right there. He knows some people that done it. So that's all we say.
You sure?
Sure. Gotcha. Yeah. So this is fair, and I want everybody to understand. Look, none of us are taking no offense to nothing. We really want to hear this. We want to hear this.
So also about like putting in money, we're all taxpayers, so we already paid what we talked about anyway. So part of holding our elected officials accountable is to invest the money that we already paid into. So with this bill that our boy Jesse Chisholm trying to get passed, that is supposed to provide us with the resources that we were owed anyway. So as opposed to us thinking like we got to put money up front, we already did. We need that money packed passed back into the community where it was supposed to be anyway.
But what if
I want to put that in there.
But what if it's a way that we can do it without the community money?
So they want to create their pipeline.
All this stuff we said, what they like.
All I'm saying, man, is enough educated brothers that know ways to go into the system to make it get broke, get money, without us have to use the community right off top. Because if you don't prove to the community right off top that you got 5 stores, you got this and that over here, we got car lots, we got this and that that's developing money, pipelining through New York and wherever we was. Because first of all, we go back in history, in New York, Harlem. Yeah. Harlem was a rich place. Now look at it. Just because of dope and being zoned and being recognized. This is the stuff we say. And we don't recognize this stuff. It's not blaming the white man. We just doing what they doing to us so we can get over the hump of what they doing so we get around it.
Right.
And if we don't have no arm, we don't have the things that we need, they gonna come see you. And they gonna come see you, bro. That's regardless of how you do. I don't care how much education you can be in Ferraris, whatever you is, apple eye stamp, whatever you do. Dude, I'm telling you, real shit. That's all I'm saying.
Right.
That's a reality check.
But you can't go through like thinking like this.
Well, it's not.
I know you got.
I'm not gonna go through life. I'm not saying I'm going through life. I had to experience
and I understand
and
you can't think. You don't want your kids to have to think like everything you do they can come and take it. You don't have that mind. And you right though. I ain't saying you. I know you right.
I know, but I'm saying I experienced it.
We don't have to think like this.
So what does it look like for us to rise above that?
Working together, banging the truck, getting the finances and the funds that we need, and not these bogus ass programs. And stop trusting other people that ain't even did shit over. We gave them 60 years of trust. They ain't making it happen.
Right.
Now you got individuals like y'all with the college, with the school, did all y'all did, and now y'all in the community. Doing what y'all trying to do after y'all educate, y'all went to the white man. I think education learn whatever y'all need to know.
We went to go get our education.
I don't know where it went. I don't know what the market, the spell with us and shit, so you know, I'm just saying. Hold up, but time out. Those
things up to get that money, to get the resources put where we want them to be put. And so listen, it's a great conversation because we're hearing these different perspectives. And I would even imagine that some people are listening to what you're saying, and they learning something they didn't know.
Right. Nobody ain't gonna speak
about the awareness of our own community. Right. And so this is why we want to know what you got to say.
Right, I understand.
We want to know what you got to say. We want to know what you have to say so that we can go to the table that we've been granted certain access to make that thing happen.
So when we bring that plan back home, that plan is inclusive of what everybody has said.
Right, agreed on. And we know it's going to go into effect.
Right. That, you know, we want to make sure, like, we're asking them, we got a plan. Like, this is, and I'm not going against this, but this is part of the plan, right? So when the Black Millennials for Flint, when we sat out and said, man, we're going to do this shop talking, we're going to talk about certain things, we're going to get the information and data that we need from people, and what other better place to do it than the barbershop where every black man is.
Right, that's true.
Right. And so we're here, and so part one of the plan is going out, doing our research and understanding what people want. And then we get to take this information and go back and figure out, sit at the table and kind of like, man, when we were in the mound, this is what they talked about.
Right.
You know, one of the biggest things that they have was trust. And so for me, I'm big on business. And so we figure out, like, what's a trust campaign look like? The same way Nike puts a campaign out and says, I want everybody to buy these Jordans, or we're going to get these Nike commercials, we just do it. We have to create these same type of plans and ideas for our neighborhood. What am I going to do and say and show that is going to make the people in the neighborhood start believing in what we say? Because just like you need us sitting at the table, when we come back, we're going to call and we're going to say, yo, we need everybody down here at this spot on this day, so that when we sit at the table, because we've told them, because Tracy going to tell them, I don't know y'all, what y'all don't know, she going to tell them. She going to tell them, I got 500 folks that's ready to ride with me if I don't get what I need. And see, they gonna test her.
Right.
And when they come and test her, we need to make sure that everybody in the mail is like, oh no, we here.
Right.
We here.
Right.
Trust me. We gotta make sure it goes both ways.